What is going on, gentlemen? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And I hope that with all the craziness going on in the world, you're still in good shape, man. I know there's always more nuttiness around the corner, it seems. If it's not a pandemic, well, I guess it's all kinds of madness. So on that note, I thought we would probably, at the end of the day, all that stuff, all that craziness, it is what it is. However, what we can change, I think we should. And today I had the pleasure of sitting down with Jen Dubicki and Gigi Aducci. Now, what we discussed was how Gainswave technology worked, how frequency basically helps you down there to break down some buildup that may happen. And essentially, it was almost as if, the analogy that Gigi used, which was beautiful, was, you got to tune up your car every now and again because it's not going to work as well as it might have when it was brand new. And it's kind of the same way we should probably treat our penises, because sometimes it may not work the way it once did. Now, Jennifer Dubicki is a licensed acupuncturist, and Gigi is a colon hydrotherapist. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, like, hey, how does that tie in? And the beauty of how VPG Waves works, which is their clinic, which you should definitely check out at vpgwaves.com, is that it is a holistic approach, right? So what Gigi was talking about is that sometimes, a lot of guys may have a little bit of a buildup, in the colon and maybe affecting other things. And in the same vein, acupuncture also focuses on the meridian points, right? And you may be holding on to some stress and holding on to different things in a way that you didn't know. And what I found that was beautiful is that, yes, they treat the problem. However, they work from healing within. And I think that's one of the things that's missing from a lot of the modern day medicine. A lot of the modern day medicine that exists is, hey, just take a pill. Oh, your dick's not working? Perfect. We got this thing called Viagra. You take that, you may have a couple of headaches and this, that, and the other. And again, hey, this is all anecdotal and this is not medical advice, at all. This is just my take on it and why I think it's important for us to always approach things, in a balanced way and always look at what are the underlying root issues, which is something I always talk about, man, because at the end of the day, it seems that no matter what avenue you decide to go down on, go into, you always got to look at the root cause. And the root cause may not be obvious and it may not be something that, you can pinpoint and just be like, oh, yeah, okay, I just need to give it, a pill, or I just got to do this. When it comes to human physiology, it seems like it's a little bit more complicated than that. Which is why I love the approach they have at VPG Waves. So check them out at vpgwaves.com. And if you want to learn more about Gainswave, their supplements, or any good stuff, make sure to hit them up at vpgwaves.com. And again, I had an absolute pleasure learning about how Gainswave technology works. And believe you me, it's one that I had to, I actually sat down after the podcast to take notes. So get your notepads out and make sure you pay attention and just take as many notes as possible. All right, enough of my yapping. Let's get into it, guys. Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions Podcast, where we had some technical difficulties. And I know a lot of you guys may experience technical difficulties every now and again, but Gigi's going to help us break down how to get the most out of our sexual health, how Gainswave works, and a holistic approach to how to do things properly. Gigi, how are you?
I'm good. And how are you doing?
Doing fantastic after we weren't able to really get this thing flowing the way we wanted, but,
Take a deep breath.
Woosah. The holistic approach. But like you were just telling me right there, tell us more about the approach that you guys have in regards to ED and what it could be a precursor to.
So I don't know if you can see the sign behind me. It says we have to treat the root cause of the health issue. We just were in an article that I could send you a link so your readers read up on. We have quite a few articles in that issue where we're discussing that ED can be a precursor to cardio issues like heart health, heart attack, stroke, right? Blood flow issues. So something that's preventing blood flow to the heart. So the blood flow is not going, something's preventing it from flowing, and we just have to figure out what that is. And that's pretty much what it is. So shockwave is a huge part of what is bringing blood flow to that area. And we can do that, right, with shockwave. So shockwave is known as acoustic wave, sound wave therapy, acoustic wave therapy, and shockwave is all one and the same thing. Frequency therapy, right? Yeah. All same stuff. Radio frequency. So back in the day, the early stages, like years ago, 15 years ago, it was frequency therapy. But those, so we've advanced. This is a level 1 shockwave therapy. When you go to a urologist to break up kidney stones, that's a level 2 machine. And they're a level 3 machine where they're trying to use frequency, energy, and therapy to solve blockages in your heart, so that to avoid cracking the chest open. And that's level 3. And Japan is working on it. So frequency therapy, sound therapy, shock therapy, I mean, cool stuff. This is the new medicine, the new surgery, no, it's not invasive. It doesn't hurt. Side effects is almost nothing, right? Some people can't have it if they're on severe blood thinners and they're bruising and things like that. So those guys will not qualify for any of these things. But otherwise, almost everybody else can get this. There's nothing else that will contraindicate this treatment. So it's a huge array of people that can have this. Insurance does not cover it yet, not in the US. I don't know about Europe, but not in the US. I don't know about Canada. I don't think so. Because there's not much money in it. The prices vary, but we are a Gainswave provider and we are trained and constantly trained. We're always keeping tabs. It's ongoing research. It's been in the US for about 6 years now. And it's been in Europe for like 20 years. Right. So we just brought that to the US. So I'm one of the first providers here in Connecticut to open this up. Florida was maybe a year ahead of us, but they were the very first people to do it. And we all trained in Florida. So Gainswave is constantly, we're learning from each other. And Peyronie's is also a thing where you have a curvature to the penis. And when you have erectile dysfunction for a long time, and these guys are trying and they're bending, and you're going to have some damage. So a lot of men think it's just erectile dysfunction, but it's a little bit of both. So we're finding that. So by shocking the penis, it's actual shocking the penis and the scrotum and all around it, it's called the triangle. And you just keep shocking it. We're breaking up all that plaque, whatever is in there that's not supposed to be there, that's preventing blood flow. So we're eliminating that. And then by bringing more oxygen through blood to that area is building new cells, and then they plumping up. And now you have blood flow in that area. Well, you're fixed and you're straight. So it takes, depends. So there's a shim score that you can go on my website. You go to vpgwaves.com and you can go to get started, and there's an intake form, and you fill out the shim score, and you'll know how many treatments you'll need based on your answers. So that's just an approximate. You still have to see the doctor, or it has to be a full evaluation, look at your medication, all that kind of stuff. But now we're going to get to the root cause, what sets us apart. And I want all the clinics to do what we're doing, because we are trying to prevent stroke and heart attack, right? So that's a new thing that they've connected. So also erectile dysfunction has also been linked to constipation issues. So somebody's root cause can be constipation, stomach issues. So we include that. So I'm a colon hydrotherapist. Ever heard of colonics?
Is that where they basically flush you out and they kind of just take all that old crap out of you, literally?
Literally. So if you went on my website, you'll see the machine, you see how it is. So it's just a little tube smaller than my pinky. The tube goes into this, like just a little bit into the anus, and it's slow blood water flow into the anus. You're laying down and and everything is moving around it. And you can do number 1 and number 2 in there. It's like a toilet for kings and queens. Yeah, we have a TV, you relax, things like that. So we have the Libby system, which is an open system, but not everybody has an open system. So I always say any colonic is better than no colonic.
Mm.
It is important. So like we tune up, our cars get a tune up, we need a tune up. We gotta flush out our system, bad stuff out, good stuff in, and your body will do the rest.
That's excellent. Because I mean, I hear a lot of people that are just trying to band-aid different things, and it's kind of like just take more pills, take more pills. And I'm kind of, the older I get, the less inclined I am to take more medications for things that I think may have other underlying issues, which is kind of why it's interesting to hear you talk about, hey, you know what? Let's go about fixing your ED with Gainswave, right? Because I imagine that's probably the main reason why a lot of guys come see you, right?
Yeah, I mean, this morning I had a surgeon come in, a practitioner, and he just wants the shockwave, because he heard great things about it. I said, well, let's fix your underlying root cause too. He wouldn't even take my pamphlets, but it's hard we've been programmed, brainwashed, whatever word you want to call it, to think medicine's our only option, pharma is the way to go. And we've seen that that's not the case. The side effects that these guys are coming in with from the pills and the surgeries that they went under, pretty horrific. When we started, we didn't realize what a need our community needs. There's a lot of injuries here that are being done, by, I'm not going to mention who they go to for these things, but it's they're being injured. Many are coming here very injured, and they have a lot of healing to do.
So have you seen
You
has there been like a botched surgery where it's almost like you're trying to bring this guy back to his normal self, or?
We've seen horrible things. So yeah, yeah, definitely. Or even something as, so let's say you have like a constant surgery and you're growing scar tissue. So we have scar tissue damage for, let's say, what is that? Like hernias, right? So we have one guy, since his hernia operations very botched up, and he kept having more and more scar tissue growth and more scar tissue growth. He didn't have an erection for 14 years, like nothing, no movement. And our practitioner, we don't just do the triangle area. If we see a scar tissue damage or something like that, like an old scar tissue damage, they'll shock that area too. So we're going to break up scar tissue, because that is very similar to what's going on with Peyronie's.
Yeah.
That's the blocking the blood flow. Like something went really wrong. One shockwave, the guy went home, left a message 2:00 in the morning. So you got to treat the root cause. You can't go to a person that's only trained to do this little triangle area. You got to go and look at the whole person, look at their everything, ask many questions. The more we know, the more we can fix you,
100%. A question I have, though, in regards to that guy who hadn't gotten an erection for 14 years, did his penis atrophy at all, or was it still like in good working form? It just needed to get blood flow in there.
There was nothing wrong with the look of his penis. He just couldn't get an erection.
Okay.
Urinating, everything was fine. It's just the hernia scar tissue damage, and he's had like maybe 10 surgeries on that area. They just couldn't fix it, for some reason or another. So once we started treating internally with some supplements, so we'll put him on some supplements, and he did a few colonics, and just like get things out of there that's causing some blockages, allowing healing. Hydrotherapy is very important. It brings more oxygen to the level. blood flow also brings oxygen to the level. When you have a lot of oxygen in the level, when then things are going to start healing, plumping up, your vessels are going to grow healthy and strong, and your cells are going to be moving around the way they should. So we just have to get to that point. And that's what happened. So when she moved that scar tissue, it was putting pressure on the blood flow to the penis. So she released some of that pressure in that one treatment. He needed more. He kept going. That man needed 14 shocks. 14 years is a long time, a lot to fix, and he got a lot of help with all his other health issues too. We can't fix you, and feeling healthy, feeling good is also sexy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And have a working penis and not feel good. Where's your energy at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but that's got to be frustrating. I wouldn't know, but that's kind of why I think I'm big on, fitness and obviously the holistic approach too, because if your mind's not in the right place, sometimes guys struggle with that too. But coming to kind of more performance way of looking at it, let's say if a healthy dude wants to get Gainswave, is it still a possibility?
It's a great way. They definitely don't need 6 or anything. So a man who's still having erections can come in once a year and just get a tune-up, or every other year, depending on, what's going on. So they're not cheap. It's about $600, for one treatment. It gets cheaper when you get more, they let you get a break on the price. I have a picture. You have mature audiences over there?
Everybody's 18 plus.
Okay, so I can show.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So you see how the blood flow is over there?
Yeah.
So we're just plumping all that back up.
Gotcha.
So it's quite a visual. And it's hard to advertise this because I was banned on Facebook for showing a banana.
Yeah, it's honestly it's something that I don't understand because like the visuals that I see a lot of people that are just like sex tips or doctors who are talking about health, and it's like you show a banana, you show a diagram of penis, and everybody freaks out. But I'm like, meanwhile on Twitter, it's like sign up for my OnlyFans and people are butt naked. I'm like, come on, man, I don't understand it.
Right?
It's just kind of weird, and I don't understand why it's taboo, especially when you're doing something good and something healthy. That's the one thing that kind of bugs me because I don't understand it.
Well, maybe things will be changing soon.
Hopefully. But that's
I
kind
think
of
so. I mean, a place like Gainswave, like especially our holistic clinic that does Gainswave, where we are introducing holistic healthcare to a whole new group of people.
yeah.
And it's included in the price. I mean, the price is the price. You want to have the extra treatments or not, that's on you, but we definitely recommend you do the extra stuff. So it's a great incentive for them to give holistic treatments a try.
100%. And when you mentioned the supplements, what kind of supplements do you recommend your guys take, like a nitric oxide booster or?
Yeah, so we use a product. Well, it depends. It's not all for one and one for all.
Yeah.
Wave teaches you to use a firm, depending on the patient. It might raise blood pressure. The doctor at a firm will say no. We've seen with our patients, there's quite a few of them. So depending on what's going on with the person, we'll give them a firm. There's also something called nattokinase serrapeptase. It's like an enzymes.
Okay.
So serrapeptase is a silkworm enzyme made out of silkworms. And it works like little Pac-Man. So it eats up all the bad tissues, the plaque, the calcifications, all the body, and it knows to stay away from the good stuff, your good tissues. Very brilliant stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Pathologists are reading up on it, love it. Unfortunately, they're not allowed to prescribe it.
Oh, what?
Yes, and that's what they told me at like clinics like Mayo Clinic, similar to Mayo Clinic. And it's sad.
Wait, but they know it exists, so there's no supplement version of it that like I can get my hands on?
Their license is not qualified to give you a supplement.
But they can give you medication.
Right. because they didn't study nutrition. So
What?
they have enough time in nutrition to supplement.
That
That's
sounds
what they told me, at least these people in Florida. Um, so it's unfortunate. You got to go to somebody who treats the whole person. Say, okay, my job is just your heart. My job is just your foot. You got to kind of, we're all connected. We're inside one body.
yeah, well, you
At some
do
point,
kind
you're
of
going to have to go to somebody who treats the whole thing,
exactly. It's kind of
get the
like,
whole info.
well, I see it all the time too. It's kind of like my dad's a little bit overweight, but they're like, oh, you got to take this for your blood pressure. You got to take this for your heart. I'm like, why don't you tell my dad to go, maybe work out, go walk, maybe do something that's more beneficial for him, like for his whole body, not just take this for your heart, take this to bring down your blood pressure. I don't know why that approach even exists, but I would love to get my hands on that supplement. Do you know any place where you can get it or?
And we sell it on our website. You create an account with that.
Okay.
I do think that certain people on medications you shouldn't treat yourself. So supplements and herbs are very powerful, very powerful. So they can be dangerous.
100%. Yeah.
Definitely get a prescription and
Yeah.
be a doctor. I do not recommend taking a serious supplement like serrapeptase enzymes on your own. You can unfortunately go out and get it. I don't recommend it.
Okay.
Okay. People hurt themselves all the time with herb supplements, so you really need to know what you're doing.
Gotcha.
Seen an issue with that. Try to be so healthy, taking 20, 30 pills a day. And now that's an issue, so less is more.
Mm.
Think about that. Less you poison yourself, the better. Less is more.
Yes.
The more healthier you'll be with less.
No, 100. Yeah, because I had another doctor, Dr. Yoho, where he was telling me about how he was actually using testosterone. And he said the majority of his clientele was women, right? And he's like, if you microdose it, you use testosterone properly, you'll be just fine. But now you look at these juiced up gorillas at the gym, and it's like they are not healthy. And now in the bodybuilding community, we're starting to see more and more drop off like flies, like heart attack, stroke. It's mind blowing that these guys are in their 40s and are have heart disease, right? So I agree with you 100% that not everybody should be just prescribing it and taking it themselves. Like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. Take this.
Yeah. I mean, you should also tell your viewers, don't join a gym that doesn't have an AED. The thing that will bring you back to life.
Okay.
That's a good thing, running a gym, just saying, hey, where's your AED? And if they don't have one, I don't think you should be there.
Definitely. Another question I had is because one thing I do regularly is like I like to pump, right? Because I got a penis pump, and that's kind of what we do here on the show too. A lot of guys talk about that. How would Gainswave help with pumping?
That's part of the protocol. So
Okay.
that is so you go home, you get your shock. The shock's running through you for 3 days.
Wow.
And though you're not here, you're still getting treatment for another 3 days. So think of like a pond, and you're throwing a rock in there and it's rippling, right?
Yeah.
So for 3 days, it's penetrating, rippling, moving things, clearing out junk. Okay. And when you're home, we want you to pump once or twice a day.
Gotcha.
And you get a bottle of a firm or enzyme, depending on who you are, where you're at health-wise, and you get a pump.
Gotcha.
Now, for the protocol, and then we educate you on holistic stuff. Every shockwave, you can get an acupuncture treatment, which we recommend highly because acupuncture is 4,000-year-old medicine. They've been treating ED for a long time and other health issues. And a lot of people never had acupuncture that come here, which we love newbies, and we love opening the eyes of new people that never heard of acupuncture, colonics, naturopath. So it's nice to see, and it's a pleasant surprise for them. Like, wow, I never felt so good. I didn't know that. that kind of thing. And it's a beautiful thing to see. So I think everyone should do this in every clinic.
I agree with you. But tell me more about acupuncture and how that kind of works.
So the needles do not go in the penis. I can see you're already.
Okay. Yeah.
I noticed it. I read your mind. No.
I was like, yo,
No
man, they're gonna like
needles.
just pop. I'm like, ooh.
No. We're not putting any needles anywhere near this.
Okay.
Because acupuncture works on meridians, so you can treat that area by putting it in the lower back, the ankle, other areas. And it's same thing. It's to get it help detox, get rid of the stuff you just shocked, to help move it along into your bowels or your urine. Let's get all that stuff out that we just release, the calcifications and all that gloopity glop that might be there that just released from the shock. The acupuncture will help move it on out. And drinking, she's going to give you some diet changes, drink more water, get that stuff out. And we call it the exit plan, your clients. Now, those with severe bowel movement issues, they'll see me a lot sooner.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. So that's comforting to me. And then probably a lot of guys that were thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, what do we have? I don't have it here, but our brochure has like a little car with a little wrench on it. I was like, we're going to take care of our car better than we take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like your car, bad stuff out, your old oil, you need an oil change, you need a tune-up.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with you on that. And another question now that just kind of came up, and I was thinking about it, but a lot of guys that have Peyronie's that I've talked to, and the way that they've kind of went about getting rid of it was using an extender. Do you guys use an extender for the guys with Peyronie's as well, or you don't combine it with anything?
What do you mean by extender? Internally?
No, the external one. So the one's got like the two rods on the outside, and it has like a little like enclosement for the glands, and then you kind of just wear that and it's supposed to straighten it out.
I'll have Jennifer come talk to you about that. I've never heard of that.
Okay.
But she's our medical license provider. Like, you can ask her those kind of medical questions.
Okay.
Or for you. We're taking turns sitting here because we're working. It's our work day.
Yeah.
But any questions for me for colon therapy while I'm here? I'll come and I'll close this off with you.
Okay.
But just if you want to focus any direct medical questions, I suggest you ask Jennifer. You can ask her pharmaceuticals, the medications, like all that kind of stuff. She'll know.
Okay.
All right, give me a second.
No worries. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just talking about all things related to the penis. So one question I kind of just had that I was asking Gigi about was, when it comes to Peyronie's and treating it, could you pair Gainswave with an extender?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Could you pair the use of Gainswave with the penis extender, like the external extenders with the two rods that you use?
No.
No, you don't need it, or?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
Well, no worries. It's just a question on Peyronie's, but how do you guys treat Peyronie's then?
So Peyronie's is treated with the shock wave. And what the shock wave does is breaks up the scar tissue to correct the curvature.
Okay. And what else would you guys do in regards to helping with the blood flow? Is there anything that you do at home or any pharmaceuticals that you take?
So we actually in our program also do acupuncture, which helps the circulation and blood flow tremendously. And depending on each patient, there are herbal supplements or nutritional supplements are tailored to them.
Okay. And what does the protocol look like from beginning to end when you have your patient?
Okay, so they would first come in for a consultation. We would go over medical history, see how severe the case is, and from there decide if they need 6 or 12 treatments.
Okay.
Each treatment, they would come in for a shock wave treatment, which is about 16, 17 minutes long. And then they would go directly to the acupuncture table. So they would get acupuncture straight after the shock wave. Within the course of the first 6 treatments, they would also meet with our naturopath, who would go over any blood work to see if there's any hormone imbalances. The patients would also be given either supplements or I'm an herbalist as well, so herbal remedy to help things. They would also receive 2 colonic treatments within that first series of 6.
Okay.
If they need an additional 6 after that, it's the same thing. Come in, they get the shockwave and acupuncture, and that is done either once or twice a week, depending on the severity of the case.
Gotcha. And who would not qualify to be a patient?
So not qualify would be somebody on blood thinners like Coumadin or warfarin. People who have a recent stroke, blood-related disorders.
Gotcha.
Someone going through cancer treatments is also not qualified.
Gotcha. And let's say if a guy's been taking Viagra for a while and it's not working, and he comes and sees you, is there any negative effects to taking Viagra for a long time or Cialis as far as dependency goes, or just maybe something internally?
So generally what we see with patients is that Viagra and Cialis either stop working over an amount of time, or patients' side effects become more increased and severe, which is often why they end up seeing us.
Okay.
Most of our patients, Viagra and Cialis no longer work.
Gotcha. What are the side effects from taking extensive amounts of Viagra, though?
So the side effects are nausea, headache, flushed face, sinus issues, and eye issues, decrease in vision.
Really? I didn't know it affected the vision. Jeez, that sounds awful. But also, when it comes to Gainswave, you say that usually, generally, it takes about, let's say if it's just a young, healthy guy, like I was asking Gigi, like let's say if you're in your mid-40s now and you come in once a year would suffice?
So generally you would start with the initial series of 6, and then we recommend a maintenance. So once every 3 or 4 months after that for one treatment. If you don't come in for maintenance, and if you're young and the first initial series of 6 works great, you can go 2 to 3 years without another.
Wow. So up to 3 years. That's not bad.
No, most of our patients do decide to do the maintenance treatments because then they can get a longer life out of their initial series.
Yeah, excellent. Because I'm 33 and I kind of looked into it and I think, you know what, this makes sense. Why not?
We're getting younger and younger guys in their mid-20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, because I got into this whole realm because of the male enhancement stuff, but why is it that you think that, I don't know, it's still taboo for guys not to take care of their penises?
From what I understand, it's a pride issue. Almost every guy that comes in here is nervous and embarrassed to talk about it. They don't even discuss it with their partners. A lot of patients hide the fact that they're even coming here from their significant other. And from what I understand, it's a pride issue. So I don't know why. If things aren't working correctly, they don't think they're as much of a man, which we all know that's not the truth. But I think they need to hear it from somebody else.
Jeez, yeah, no, because I mean, from my point of view, I'm always looking at performance and obviously, trying to get to the next level, I guess, for everything. But I could see why most guys, I mean, as a dude, I'll tell you straight up, we usually wait until things are already broken to go fix it.
Yeah.
Which is probably the stupidest way to go about it. But I think what you're doing is awesome. I think it's excellent. Definitely moving things in the right direction.
If to come in before the problem is severe is really the best time to come in. If it's more severe, it takes longer to heal. If you're coming in right when the problems there, usually we see immediate results.
Yeah. And the question I have, could you would it actually work as a way to increase size too? If you're not like, let's say you're not suffering from ED, would it benefit most guys or?
So some people say that it does, but I think it's more temporary because it causes dilation of the blood vessels. So I don't think there's really anything to increase size all that much, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Except for the suspensory ligament surgery I saw that I'm not a fan of.
Well, there's some invasive procedures, yes, but there's also a lot of side effects to those invasive procedures.
Yeah, I was talking to Gigi and she was telling me about how you get a lot of botch clients too.
We do, yes. So especially when it comes to Peyronie's, because there is an injection used in urology offices for Peyronie's that we've been seeing more and more patients come in with even increased scar tissue buildup from those injections, and also from the injections for ED that lead to Peyronie's.
And what do those injections like? What are their practices then? Because I want to know what to avoid.
So there's an injection called Xiaflex that's used to break up scar tissue. That one's specifically for Peyronie's. And then there's an injection that is done to cause an immediate erection for ED patients. So it's actually done, the patient does the injection at home. So it's not comfortable. A lot of patients will end up injecting themselves in the same place over and over, which leads to scar tissue, which leads to other problems. So, and just like Viagra and Cialis, patients who've used the injections at home tend to say over a certain amount of period of time, they don't work anymore.
Well, I mean, it's not something
none of that's actually helping the root cause of the issue.
Yeah, which is what you guys focus on, which is why I respect what you do.
Thank you.
No, I love that. And I mean, have you heard there's a device also, it's called the Black Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that something along the lines, or is it in the same realm as the Gainswave? How does that one work?
So the Phoenix Pro is made through the same company that promotes Gainswave. So what it has done, it does is it's a shockwave device for home. So it would be used after a full course of shockwave within a medical office.
Okay.
A patient can do at-home treatments. They're only done for so long, though. You can't continue to do shockwave. You need to give your body a break at some point. But you do get the Phoenix through a medical provider.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I heard Suzanne Bratton talking about it. I was like, that looks interesting. But so these different, when it comes to these vibrational, I guess, what is it, like a frequency kind of device, is there any that you can have at home that's, I guess, like a minor version of this, of Gainswave, or?
So the Phoenix would be the minor version. Again, that is suggested usually through a medical provider for more severe ED cases. You can purchase the device online, but they're not all medically tested. You don't know what frequencies you should be using. And we've also had patients purchase them at home and then because they cause more damage. So we don't ever suggest doing any of this at home without a medical provider first, because the frequencies are changed around per person. So depending on your previous medical history or what kind of medications you're on, if you have cardiac problems, that's all something we take into consideration when making the settings for the treatments.
Gotcha. And what does it look like if somebody goes, a little bit over the top with the power?
So over the top can actually end up causing nerve damage. So that would decrease sensation.
Oh, so you're basically like frying up your dick.
That way. But it's not the best thing for you.
Note to self, seek medical help.
Yeah. When treating any medical condition, we always recommend going to see a provider that is trained and specializes in that particular problem.
100%. I mean, the reason why I bring it up is I saw there was a dude who was talking to me about it. And he's like, hey, I saw this like shockwave therapy on Alibaba.com. I'm like, dude, I don't think that's a good idea. And
it's not a good idea. It actually, that is one of the places where one of our patients bought it's a device for us in this office.
Jeez.
And once you cause damage, to reverse that damage takes longer, harder. So you don't want to cause any more damage to yourself at home.
A note to self. Well, it's very simple. I mean, the way I see, you should always seek, talk to a professional. Don't do this at home.
Right.
So all the guys listening, take that in consideration. So what's the name of your website?
Our website is vpgwaves.com.
.com. And do you guys have Instagram or Facebook or anything?
We do. It's Vitalized Performance Group. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me on both under Jennifer Dubicki, LAC, which is for licensed acupuncturist.
Awesome. All right. I guess Gigi's coming to close it up.
Okay.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Jen.
It was a pleasure talking to you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here you go. Back to you. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to show you also. So we won 10 Best Clinic.
Wow.
Some hookups. We have a lot of articles, a lot of education in this one. So it's free to subscribe, I believe. And that's our brochure.
Okay.
And you see my little tune.
And the website is vpgwaves.com.
Yeah, and you see the little car, the little wrench.
I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we have a lot of articles because erectile dysfunction and heart health is the article.
Yeah, I see that.
There's a lot of information and our spin on it, Gainswave spin on it. So we actually combined a little bit. So all of that is,
in the magazine. Nice.
To learn. There's much you can do to prevent things. Preventive medicine is much easier than trying to cure something.
Well, reactive medicine. It's funny though, because a lot of people, like we were talking about before, lean towards this old school mentality of I gotta wait till something's broken. And like I was just talking to Jen, it's a lot better for men if they come and see you guys ahead of time, right? So that's definitely something that I want to emphasize and just let everybody listening know you should definitely take care of your health before you get that wrench coming up.
And we have so many bodybuilders, that call in, some very upset. I do everything right. I eat clean. I take care of myself. I'm in the gym 3 hours a day, really upset. Why isn't this working?
Really?
What is wrong? That's not fair. What's going on? And then do a full panel on them. We got to see. And a lot of times it is testosterone. So when you're lifting weights, you're raising things, your cortisol, your testosterone, everything happens as you're lifting weights. Like too much exertion also does something like that. So there's a fine line to all these things,
And I myself, I've never taken steroids or I've never, ever taken exogenous testosterone. But how would that affect ED? Because I've heard a lot of guys say that when they're coming off, they screw up their PCT cycles and this, that, and the other. I myself, I'm like, where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't want to go near it. And do you see a lot of bodybuilders come in and say, hey, it doesn't work anymore because of what I did? Or is it just something that comes?
They don't most of the time, they don't put 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
Or, they don't want to or something. Because think about it, it's like, well, it helps me win, my
competitions and stuff.
So I can't stop it. So it can't be that, they just in their heads. But it throws stuff off balance. Health, the meaning of health is homeostasis, which is a word for balance. Balance, you don't have health. And it says it's that simple. Like I was just telling that surgeon guy that was in there earlier. I was like, That's all it is. Let's not complicate things.
Yeah.
But it's, and we don't beat around the bush, and you're going to get healthy or not. It's really in your hands, but you got to follow the directions. Like, we have somebody who smokes pot all the time. A heavy pot smoker will never get it up.
Really? Okay, you got to tell me more about that, because I got a lot of pothead friends.
It's just not possible. Same thing with heavy drinkers.
Okay, that one I knew about.
In all sense of the word, it's a downer.
Jeez. Does it stop, like when you smoke a lot of weed, does it stop blood flow, or what does it do more than anything that causes it not to work?
There isn't much studies on it yet, but just by doing this, what we've been doing, there's a little bit of information out on the web, tiny bit, not yet. There's not that much where we can guess, and I don't want to guess. I'm also a health, like, stress coach, and there's Bruce Lipton. If you're him, they should. Has, like, research, I mean, MRI that shows when you're down and depressed, your cells are down and depressed. So if you're always on a downer, you're going to be down.
Yeah.
To go out and get cocaine. I'm not saying go do that, but I can see someone listening and be like, "Oh, I'm going to change my drug of choice." No.
It goes from heroin to cocaine.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like marijuana to cocaine, because you have a downer and now you want an upper. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But my guess, it's something along those lines, like something about Bruce Lipton's, like, research. That's my guess. We don't have enough research yet, but we do see it. We see it here all the time. We beg people to cut down to once a week instead of twice a day. They just can't or won't. I'm not sure what the issue is. But some people won't be healed, and it's because of that. It's also severe diabetics. It's completely uncontrollable, complete nerve damage. They came in too late. If we had somebody diabetic, and I'm talking about type 1 and type 2, if they came in here earlier, but it starts so young sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's hard to come in here earlier. We can't treat anybody under 18.
Jeez.
But otherwise, you come in earlier, and you just try and correct those underlying issues.
Yeah.
The power of holistic medicine,
Well, I think more and more people are going the alternative medicine route, just because we're starting to see, the whole, the mainstream narrative, as far as, take some pills, be on your way, yada yada, and then you go die 10 years later because you're still sick from the toxicity of the medicines they gave you. It's kind of started to make its way to the light, where a lot of people, including myself, like, I started to look into this stuff in my mid-20s, where I'm like, something seems off with all this stuff, and it's kind of like, for a lot of men that I see, that I know personally, like my father, it's just, he's overweight, never worked out a day in his life, wants to drink Coke, eat chips, just do whatever. And I feel like that's obviously a massive thing too when it comes to nutrition, but it's almost like being out of homeostasis and being out of balance is probably what's leading us to this downward curve. But I applaud.
So in my old life, I have another website where even somebody like that, on my website, you see a lady on the couch eating with a Slurpee and like a Subway sandwich or something like that, and watching TV, right, with the remote, like, like that. And I said, even she can cheat her way to health. And how to do it is by cleansing, right? So there's little tricks. Colonics, drinking a lot of water, taking a break. You don't have to stop, and you don't have to be at the gym now. You don't have to go for a walk every day. But at least let's get you to a point where you have no disease. There are tricks that you can do. When we're fighting medication and you keep adding medication, but I think if you just do those little things, just do the blood work, get your minerals and vitamins and nutrition level balanced out through blood work, with your naturopath, and get rid of the bad stuff, detox, cleanses, juice fast. but you don't want to do that on your own either. Like I said, don't treat yourself. People overdo it. We're human beings. We don't know how to do things in little portions. We just go crazy. And there's so much bad information on the internet. So always find a provider that knows how to cleanse, how to detox safely. And there's a lot of detoxes, it's not just your bowels, but you have your lymph nodes, your sweat. You have chelation, which is heavy metals.
Yeah.
Help get rid of the residue stuff from your medications. There's just a lot to know.
There is a lot.
It doesn't hurt to do a parasite cleanse. Parasites are everywhere. You're not going to escape it. It's not only in third world countries. That is not true.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you today, Gigi. I had a blast and I learned a whole lot, and know my audience did. Can you tell us where they can find you, more about your information, and Jen, if they want to reach out to you guys?
And our website is very thorough. You can learn a lot. I haven't yet put the natural nutmeg information on there. This is natural nutmeg in Hartford, Connecticut area.
Okay.
And I'll put a link to that on my website, but go to vpgwaves.com. And if you're in the area, call us. Free consultation for Gainswave. Free consult. You come in, you take a look around, and we give you information to read and pamphlets. Cost nothing. And our desire is to educate our community. And this through podcasts. So, and we just want to reach and educate as many people as possible.
And you know what you're doing, like I said before, and I can't say it enough because I applaud it. And I love what you guys are doing in regards to actually helping people and going for the root cause. So it was an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And I don't know if Jennifer mentioned, but there's an 80% success rate for Peyronie's disease, So there's hope for Peyronie's. There never was before. I looked up what you were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea how that's going to work. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like putting a leg in a leg brace, like they used
Pretty much, yeah.
And they found out that all those kids suffered for no reason.
Well, especially with Gainswave around. I mean, I'm going to find, something in my area, because it just opened my eyes to the possibilities, right? So.
And you should. So Peyronie's, there's something, finally. It took a long time, but there really is something. We had a severe accident, young guy here. Severe accident. It took 17 Gainswave. And now he comes in once or twice a year for a tune-up. And he's happy. You know what it does, guys. You're like this, you're embarrassed, something's wrong. Once everything was fixed, he was walking straight, talking louder. His whole life changed, and it was beautiful to see and experience. And when we see that, there was quite a few car accidents, like that.
Jeez, man, note to self.
So be careful out there.
You got me worried on my own. Oh, but that's fantastic. And the success stories, that's kind of what we're all after. And it makes me happy that this guy is now confident. Say what you want, but a man that's, flying half mast is never going to be as happy as the dude that's able to get fully erect.
Yeah.
So.
A confidence booster thing.
100%. All right.
It was great talking to you.
I had a blast. Until the next one.
Okay. Bye.